Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Elden Ring. This time I'm going to show you how to take down the fire giant in Flame Peak, in the mountaintops of the giants. Phase 1 for this fight for me is a lot easier than Phase 2. It's much more controllable and much more predictable. Starting off the fight, you want to start riding on Torrent towards the boss. You basically want to be on Torrent the entire time for this fight. That's just my experience. Sometimes the boss will start off sending out a big shockwave of snow towards you. It is avoidable if you can jump at the correct time. Fortunately, he didn't do it on this particular attempt, so I didn't have to deal with it, but I wasn't always able to jump over it. I could never really get the timing down myself, but because it happens from so far away, even if you do get hit by it starting off the fight, you should be okay to just keep going and heal up and maybe revive Torrent if you need. Starting off in the fight, we are attempting to break off the splint around the boss's leg. If you do that, just by whacking at it a few times, the bone splint will come off, and then it exposes the weak point for Phase 1. All you have to do is stay underneath the boss most of the time, keep hacking away at the exposed flesh of that foot, or of that leg really, and then you will be doing a significant amount more damage to the boss. While you are underneath the boss, it can create these flame vents. They don't last very long, and they don't actually have that big of an AoE, so if you feel like you have a decent amount of space to stand between a few and still attack the boss, go for it. It's actually pretty viable. Occasionally the boss will send out flame orbs, sort of like Adon, Thief of Fire, I believe his name was, back in Liurnia. For those, you just kind of want to get close to them, and then they will sort of set off the proximity mine inside of them and then explode a little while later. So you just kind of want to run through them on Torrent for the most part. You can stagger the boss, however, there is no riposte opportunity in Phase 1, so you're better off just staying on its left leg and just keep chopping down the tree, hacking away at the exposed flesh, and then just doing a ton of damage. That's really kind of the strategy here. If you notice that the boss, while standing, his foot keeps tracking you in Phase 1, like he's literally spinning around with you, that means he's going to drop the plate. So you just want to watch out for that. Here in Phase 2, you can immediately get a stun on the boss and expose its eyeball. However, the eyeball riposte, for me at least, did not do much damage. So while the stun is really, really effective and keeps him down for a significant amount of time, going in and riposting that eyeball really didn't make a difference. It did so little damage that I just decided to stay in the boss's face and just attack him normally. It worked out better for me. The other thing that you want to watch out for after you do riposte the eye, if you choose to, is that the boss can very quickly stand up and slam you to the ground, likely one-shotting you. So if you do go in for the riposte, you want to immediately mount up on Torrent after it's finished and ride away to get away from the boss. Throughout Phase 2, you just want to stay near the boss's left leg, the one that you chopped off the splint for. In Phase 2, that leg is missing, and so whenever the boss rolls, the foot, or the missing foot, will just go over you. So it's a pretty reliable strategy to just get under him, stay near that chopped off limb, attack for a little while, and then the boss will roll over you. The roll will completely miss you, and then you just go back in and do the same thing. The boss has a couple of fire attacks during this phase. He keeps the orb attack from Phase 1. He also keeps the fireball attack from Phase 1 that he luckily never did. And the boss can also breathe fire out of the mouth on its chest. You have to be very careful for that. If you notice that the boss is starting to attempt to stand up while you're underneath him, chances are he's going to just fall right on top of you. That attack is a little unpredictable, especially because if you're relying on chopping the removed limb area as a strategy, it's kind of hard to get out from underneath the boss while he is doing that. If you notice that the boss rolls in the opposite direction from where he normally rolls, so if he's not rolling to his left, instead he rolls to his right, there's a pretty good chance that he's going to roll again immediately. And when that happens, he can roll on top of you and sometimes kill you. If you notice that fire is coming out of the boss's chest mouth, that's a weird phrase. If you notice it's coming out of his chest mouth, it's sort of like a dragon breath. It's going to track you, but the tracking is incredibly, incredibly tight. So you don't want to stop running, and you do not want to change your angle of attack, really. Like, you just want to keep running in the same direction you start at. This way you do not lose any speed. When the boss readies 2 fireballs, just pick a direction and run in it, and don't stop running until they're gone. If you're underneath the boss, he really won't do it, but there's a chance that he can start a fireball as you're running towards him. If that's the case, just keep running through him, and the fireballs will not reach you. The tell for the fire orbs, like trying to decipher what the difference is and how to tell whether or not that's coming out versus fireballs or just a normal fire attack. The tell is a sound. It's like a sharp charging sound. If you hear that, that's a fireball, and you want to kind of run away and get your bearings. This, let's call it a volcano attack, the eruption. All you have to do to avoid all of that and give yourself an opportunity to deal a lot of damage is stay behind the boss's foot and just keep attacking its feet. As long as you're doing that, the eruption cannot hit you. The sort of chunks don't really go behind him that often, and when they do, they won't be near his foot. So you see here, I just wanted to get rid of the orbs, so I just rode through the boss. I didn't bother slowing down to attack. All I wanted to do was get them exploded. This way I can sort of reset my positioning. So you see here, the boss, when he rolls, he does sometimes clip you, which is why it's really important to stay at full health. In order to not get clipped, you want to try to stay in front of the boss's knee, and then he'll just roll over you. If you're kind of in front of the knee, then there's a chance that he can smush you. So you got to be really careful. This boss took me a long time to kill. I know folks do this in 1 or 2 attempts, but for some reason I just could not get this boss to play along. If you are running away from the boss, I recommend not healing while riding unless you know exactly what attack is coming out, because the boss can chuck 2 fireballs at you, and unless you have a shield from a Wondrous Flask, the odds of you surviving it are super low, because if you're getting hit by one, you're going to get hit by the other. The other thing, too, is if you get knocked off of Torrent and you're not immediately underneath the boss, and if you survive getting knocked off, chances are he's going to throw 2 fireballs and kill you anyway. So it's really important that during Phase 2, you stay as close to the boss as possible at all times, unless he is breathing fire out of his chest mouth. That's the only time you want to actively get away from the boss. As well, you know, if you're trying to explode orbs or something to reset your positioning, but you do not want to stay away from the boss for long in Phase 2. Otherwise, it spells disaster. That is it. That is Fire Giant on Flame Peak. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Elden Ring, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the blue join button below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links for those are in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.